obadde okimanyi nti okuva ku sheeno Waiswa Mufumbiro taddangamu kuyitibwa ku UBC. Sheeno yaliwo olunaku lwe bakwata His Excellency Kyagulanyi Robert Sentamu e Kalangala. Sheeno yakyazibwa munnamawulire wa UBC Odongo Otho. Yaliko omuwandiisi w'enkalakalira owa Ministry ya Finance Gobi. Era nga kwaliko Honorable Lumumba Kasule ne Margaret Muhanga eyali ku Zoom. Naye ebyagirimu Waiswa Mufumbiro bye byamugobesa obutaddayo ku UBC. Katusooke tugirabe.
First of all, it is very absurd and unfortunate that people don't listen, people don't follow, but they choose to.
Are you saying people, or are you saying it is absurd that we don't follow? Because you are part of the leadership.
I am giving you an answer in response to your question. And my answer is, my leader has always rose to the occasion when there is need for him to rise to the same. The pandemic of corona that we are all talking about, COVID-19, there was no artist in the world who used his voice and talent to communicate about coronavirus.
Different context.
I have actually, he was the first artist to have the hit record of 1 million views. And if you listen to his message, there is no well-managed message internationally in a particular song that was accorded accolade like his. But because now his songs, his voice is not allowed on radio airplay, I don't know how many times you can even play it on UBC. So it is the reason why people will not understand that he has done his social responsibility to talk about and make sure that COVID is there. That is one. Two, the National Unity Platform, even at the stage when it was still a movement, it was still running purely with the movement system, the People Power Movement. We produced over 500,000 masks, and some of them are in custody of the Uganda police. Yes, the Uganda police came to our headquarters, they ransacked everything, and inclusive of what they took were masks. Very absurd. Now they turn around to say we are not minding about COVID-19 and the SOPs. The first person to flout the SOPs was the Minister of Health. She's supposed to be in Luzira today because of all those people who are dying. Because she showed the politicians where to go. We have ministers and even the president himself. I don't want us to be here as if we are putting on sunglasses in the night. Because you know that the president has played his siyasa game. That for him, he is observing the SOPs where he meets the Secretary General and others. But then this side, there is a charade of people, to borrow the words of others, of the Cold War, of useful idiots who are moving on the line. The Bebekuls, the Bajos, and they are collecting a lot of people. They have banned. And when you get the narrative of the members of the National Resistance Movement, it is sickening. When you listen to Honorable Margaret Muhanga, you wonder and you understand why there must have been hell. Because the Electoral Commission never gave reason
why there must have been
hell. Because where would she belong? I can't be in heaven and she's in heaven. Because the Electoral Commission never at any opportunity said it is because you are not observing the SOPs. The Electoral Commission, in my understanding, detected that there is an increase, there is a rise. Therefore, before you even come to these districts, that is why they allowed us to go to other districts. Because if we were being charged of an offense, then even those other districts he would not have gone. He has been arrested. They are talking about blocking. Our generation of flag bearer has been stopped from going to over 30 districts. Today he has been he's under arrest. We don't know where he is. Our entire team of over 30 people, they have been brutally arrested, they have been beaten, including the media, and you think people are seated home, because you must always find where the problem is. The problem is simple. COVID-19 has been poorly managed. And at a certain session I said that probably since when the national resistance movement was coming, there was AIDS. According to the history we have read, they are going also had to have a bigger disease. That is why COVID found them. Now, the management of COVID by the government is where we should focus, not on the opposition. If you slope in the market, do you know the numbers of people there without masks? What happened to the masks? 82 billion Odongoso was passed under the regime, under the stewardship of the good governance of the NRM. It was stolen. I heard the president speak in Wachiso very callously, with laissez-faire, about corruption. If you saw his presentation there, they don't have the willingness. 59 billion to keep Ugandans in their home and have food was messed up. Now people think in 14 days where there is a lot of mess, they have been mismanaged by a group of few people. They should use this as an opportunity to rise up at whatever cost and expense, but make sure, because what do you do when you have a democratic process 14 days away from you, to now make sure that better managers of your resources and this disease, the pandemic of COVID, come to office? Imagine if we are talking about a new Uganda managing the COVID-19. They have not constructed any foreseeable hospital. They put up tents in Nambole. All of them were blown by rain. Those people have not been put to account. They have the biggest expenditure of the COVID-19 has gone to the security, over 3 trillion shillings. They took 7 trillion of a whole budget of a quarter because government had been suspended. Now, who is supposed to be charged of violating the SOPs? The SOPs are not about washing only the hands, social distancing. They also get to the responsibility of how you are managing the pandemic. The institutionalism. Mr. Dongoso, since I was engaged with a lot, I would seek for some a few.
Yes, his campaign was frustrated in Kalangala. He didn't campaign, but he was flown by the helicopter and eventually taken home. So you need to tell us that, so that we keep the information rolling and rolling accurately.
I actually want to give very accurate information. I can attest now that personally, and to very other high-ranking members of the Secretariat, we were not yet aware, because as you may realize, the last time we realized what was happening to him was in Arua. I was in Kalangala with a prison, the prison van and helicopter. So I cannot confirm, but what I can tell you, that at his home is a barracks of military personnel. He is incommunicado. We cannot access him. So I cannot be on national TV and say that I can get him or he's at home, when actually I can't confirm that. We have other 30 people arrested, Eddie Mutwe, Nubianli and others. We are also not sure of where they are, though there are rumors that for them they have been taken to Masaka. That I had to clarify. That is the position. The last time, by the time I was here, I was coming in here. Now, I wanted to tell you that we are not in this election, just like you see, you have said I was in the Democratic Party. But we as a generation discovered that probably certain institutions that we were in were formed to fight for certain things, like independence. The Democratic Party was formed at the time of independence. Now, in the National Unity Platform, that political wing was formed to have and offer Ugandans a peaceful transition of power after decisively defeating President Museveni from office in the 2021 general election. Our candidate is not, he's the most popular candidate. He is the person whom people have been paying to see. But he has a message of freedom. The reason why we borrowed, the reason why we borrowed Bobby Wine to give us Kyagulanyi to run for presidency, because we knew that in such circumstances you needed a very, very popular, talented, but also visionary leader to help you, propel you against a dictator like you are seeing the election we are in. It has all the signs of a dictator. Our candidate is being arrested. We have recorded death of our very inner circle people, the torture, the brutality. Again, because if you hear people talk about humanity, you are talking about COVID killing people. But we have a Francis Senteza who is lying in his village, never to come back. The mother had all the hopes in Francis. He was murdered in cold blood by the state, by people we serve to protect us. Now, when Ugandans look at the cost, what do you think would be the cost of the people of Masaka to do whatever it takes to unseat the dictator in the 14 days to remain? Because it is constitutional. It is constitutional to have an election. And that is strictly what we are advocating for. We have been, from day one of our principles, the things that they should rely on asking us in the new Uganda, the accountability, is ensuring that democracy is democracy, not a resemblance of democracy.
Okay. Almost the conclusion. I will start that with Honorable Margaret. Honorable Margaret?
Yep.
I need you to respond to some of the issues that were raised in 2 minutes, and then the third minute I need you to ask the guests a question.
I am so happy that Dr. Gori has really summarized everything for Waiswa. Waiswa must note that even in that studio, he's the only one who speaks without a mask. That one shows you what type of party or political organization he belongs to. Everybody is speaking through their mask. Everybody is respecting the SOPs. Why don't you speak through your mask? That shows already your defiance, your lack of respect for human life. What if you came in that studio with COVID? Won't you leave it everywhere? Because your droplets are now flying over. Secondly, I think there are some things we don't even have to argue about. Everyone is calling upon the government to enforce the SOPs. Who enforces it? Is the police? It is, we cannot even involve the army. But where the police is overstretched, yes, we do call in the army. But where did the personal responsibility go? Why can't people take responsibility for their own lives? Should somebody keep telling you, please don't die, don't go here, because you will die? I have been attending functions here. And sometimes I ask myself, why is everyone here? People come without masks. And when you ask that, please, wear your mask, you are seated to somebody you do not live with, oh, they pick it from the pocket. Those who are wearing them are having them on the chin. Also the excuse of government having not given people masks. I don't even know why government pledged to give people masks. Because even before government talked about masks, people had them. Like Dr. Gobi said, that even those that you find in bars drinking every day, they drink more money that can buy 5 masks. So why can't somebody take personal responsibility, avoid a bottle of beer and buy a mask? Or a glass of water and buy a mask? You see, each and everything the opposition says is they are looking for a scapegoat. Look at that guy. He's not wearing a mask. And he's so happy not to wear it amid 3 other people who are wearing a mask. You are an adult. Does somebody have to tell you what to do? I can tell you, if you continue like that, you will never lead Uganda. And my simple question to you is, what is the ideology of NUP? In simple terms, tell us what you stand for, rather than removing a dictator. And you don't even know what the word dictator means anymore. So tell us, what does NUP stand for? What is your ideology? Rather than running around rallying young people, they are enslaved. The one who is telling people that they are enslaved has thrived through this government. Started just a talent with modest education, started using his talent, and he's one of the richest people in Uganda. When you tell others, it is this government that has completely enslaved you. How and in which way? When it is the same government that has propelled you to success. Anyway, Ugandans understand. Whatever lies you will tell, Ugandans understand. And on 14th of January, you are in for the rude awakening. You will get a rude shock. Because those young children that are running around your motorcade, they are children of 17, 16, non-voters who are on holiday for COVID. You will get a rude awakening. You will not sleep that night. You will cry, fall as usual. They have rigged our votes. You have not campaigned to get any votes. You have only campaigned to kill Ugandans. And I wish you could take personal responsibility, ask for forgiveness from Ugandans for the crowds you have been gathering. And my last question maybe should go to my Secretary General. I want to thank you, the Honorable Kasule Lumumba, and one of the messages you should insist on your TV programs are our foot soldiers that are moving house to house. I've seen people here who are doing a very good job, and they envisage a situation that every candidate has already got people on ground who can move for them. So you can't keep saying, you know, I want to reach out to the voters. You can't reach out to everybody. So use your people that have been seeing you meeting in the countryside. Let them walk house to house and look for your votes, which are not even there. You other people who are looking for votes, they are not there. That one I can tell you. There is nobody who can vote for people who have such characters. Ugandans are getting disgusted. Ugandans are learning that you are playing to the gallery. Imagine a whole presidential candidate mugging a policeman, an officer actually, not even a policeman, but a police officer, and taking off his mask. And you want to lead Ugandans. What if his hands were contaminated with COVID? Wasn't he going to infect that policeman? And you want to lead Ugandans with such characters, such behaviors? You don't wear a mask yourself. You stand before a policeman and take off his mask. Do you know that when you touch a policeman, you are touching the state? Because the policeman is working on behalf of the state. I've seen so many clips where you want to run over security personnel and you want to take over the state. Please check your behavior, check your character. Check your behavior, check your character, check your senses, and then you can lead later, but not now, because Ugandans are angry.
Okay.
My question, I had not even said my question because I am very angry at NUP and their behavior. My question to my Secretary General is that how are you planning to strengthen the door-to-door campaign? Thank you very much, and a blessed New Year.
Waiswa, respond to the question that Margaret asked you, and then I will take a question to both of you from Gobi, and we close.
First of all, she did a lot of name calling, and I remembered the person of Margaret Muhanga that I read about in newspapers. I don't know what would be the moral yardstick of UBC hosting everybody, but the parliamentary inquiry indicated that UBC's problems are part of Margaret Muhanga's being a kleptocrat of the regime. So she cannot speak better than what she has, her performance now. In fact, her check is now written. That is her duty. She sold the goats in billions to get land here of UBC. People know her, they remember her, and she thinks that because she's speaking for the oligarchy, she has escaped.
Let's keep it.
These are facts, and I think it is my time.
Let's keep it within the issues.
It is an issue because I am coming now to the person, because she has been also looking at the character. And I am also doing the same, and in fact,
but how was the inquiry concluded? How was the inquiry concluded?
The inquiry of what?
Oh, the inquiry into the issue you are raising about her. How was it concluded? She's
as guilty as she is. That is to our conviction.
And how is that related to COVID?
They are very, no, she looked at the character of the candidate, and I wanted to tell her that her character does not even befit to be anywhere speaking about morality. And I should assert that to her. She has a history of plunging, and is the UBC land there anymore?
We shall check.
Okay, so now, back to the point.
Let me bring in
It was very important. You see, when people begin to dismiss, when you talk about the mess of the country, you people are in Kampala. Can you give me one road in Kampala, if you're driving from UBC, that you're going to have a stretch where they are not digging it up, where there are no potholes, 50 kilometers outside Kampala? Give it to us. Yesterday when the president was speaking, these people don't listen to their president. He told you there is a problem that they have not been doing. That is his message today. He says the NRM has not been doing their part to Ugandans. He told you, the president, that there is a problem with Okugabana. He gave you an example. Let me tell you, he said in Wachiso, 45 years, getting the young people out of poverty, before even reaching the age of 80. 3 million people. Do you know how many people they looked after? 10,000. In his own admission, he saw it was nothing they were doing. They had done nothing about it. In the 21st century, you are talking about a myoga with our generation, and you think that we are going to listen to you because we have been respectful to your generation, and you think we are going to allow you plunge our generation? We want to think better for our country, reconstruct it, make it admirable. And they ask about our ideology. Before we even talk about our ideology, there is the cardinal principle of our rights, and that is freedom. We have no freedom, whereas those who are stealing from this regime have freedom. Let me tell you, have you investigated the cost and amount of money that was used in the purchase of oxygen cylinders? Do you know the people to who that money went to? It is not about sitting here and speaking merrymaking because people are putting. She does not even have the intelligence to understand that the mask I came putting on is made at home. Why do we have them made at home? We want to have our people, like, not unlike the government. Now they are running away from their responsibility because we gave you our money, 82 billion. It stopped being pledged. It became a duty because we gave you taxpayers' money. But you are so senseless and inhuman to accountability that you don't even give a damn about it. But so you excuse us.
No, but
when
Mufumbiro, government has distributed.
How many masks have been distributed, and at what cost?
25 million masks.
At what cost?
But maybe the question would be, is that enough
and
for all?
And where are the 25?
Is that
we
enough for
42, all? Madam Secretary General.
25 million.
We released the money for enough of Ugandans, and this has been in the, it is in Parliament. The food was rotten. This was said by the Speaker. And then people have moral authority to come and speak about morality. People are talking about accountability and character. Robert Kyagulanyi sent him. In one of his relics, he told us we Kwasi Kyagulanyi. And indeed we have done so. we are riding on his long-standing popularity in such a messed up election. The NRM accepts it is messed up, that the chairman is not in charge. He's not doing even the minimum of consulting. And you expect Ugandans and our generation to come and dilly-dally with that mess? We have a mission, and our mission is to unseat the dictator. And I want to tell the country, we are not a violent group. We are not violent at all. In fact, we are the lady cream of our generation. That is why, even at the worst of situations, when our own has been murdered, my friend Odongo, so you're a journalist, Ashraf is fighting for his life. He was shot doing his job.
Now, it was a canister. It wasn't a bullet.
A canister,
yes, it was bad.
A canister is what? It is thrown or it is shot also. What are you saying? Excuse me. No, and you think that is right? No, do you know that he's in coma? He's not yet speaking?
Yes, that's unfortunate.
Do you know that his brain has
That's
been
unfortunate, and we are praying that that his life is spared, that we shouldn't lose him.
You see, when you are in a country where religious leaders are speaking, where witchcrafts are speaking, where witch doctors are speaking, where everybody is speaking, because everybody is speaking about the mess that is around. And people don't want us to talk about it. He spoke about statistics. Odongo, so take time. There is a whole generation. I had the president now refer to people as street boys and what. Go and understand what is their plight. A few people are taking us hostage. Let me tell you.
Wind up, because we have to bring in
Let me give you just a story.
Just 1 second, in 10 seconds.
In 2007, I had an opportunity, I think, I was around the surroundings of Gaddafi. And
207?
I think it was 207, Afro-Arab.
How old are you?
The Afro-Arab.
I have been around. That is why they don't know us who are after them. We have been around.
The Afro-Arab.
I am saying Afro-Arab. I was part of the organizers.
2007.
I was part of the
one in Munyonyo?
I was part of the organizers of Afro-Arab.
Was that the one of Munyonyo?
The one of Munyonyo.
Yes.
This man?
Yes, I was a guild president of Mukono University, and I was chosen to be part of the team. You can research with
I remember actually I was in New Vision and I hosted a talk show about that conference.
You can ask those who are around.
You are not younger.
No,
so you are not young.
No, we are younger, but we have been alive to these facts for a very long time.
So, that's why you're not young.
No, I am not young per se. I cannot say I'm young. I can stand for president. I'm standing for MP now.
Yeah, that's true.
But I also want to tell you
thanks to the Lumumbas who amended the constitution to allow.
Now that is why I have been around. You have hosted me on a talk show.
Yes, I know.
I have been around fighting the dictator for a very long time, despite my age. Because I put on those lenses after my senior 6.
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
So it takes...
So you said, they tell us the story.
The Secretary General should be the last person to know, because even at my age I have known her personally. Yeah. So I am not one that they would... Even President Museveni, I have met him personally.
It's okay, but so, first tell us the story. Finish the story.
So
you said you were around
Gaddafi.
Yes.
Was coming to Uganda.
Yes.
And
he attended that conference.
Yes. As the following day when he was coming, his inner team, there was one called, I think it was called Abdu something. And he was a bit young. We got along so quickly. So the challenge was that at the time, the organizers had not got him
his accreditation.
He had not been well advertised, the pictures, the billboards.
Yeah.
So there was a rush to make sure that when he arrives here, he's everywhere. Okay, that is the time they put up something, I think, in Katonga, and then there was a lot of fighting of the military forces. I was watching all that. But the story I am telling you is that every person who has grown and is no longer sure of himself, you'll always be compelled to market them. The way they are marketing now, you see the statistics and the science. When you hear the Secretary General speak the way she's speaking, she's asking candidates not to be intimidated from asking votes for their president. For us in NUP, it is different. If I don't
Because
speak
it is
about
you
my candidate,
intimidating.
if I don't speak about my candidate, then I am not as loyal to the struggle as it is. It is simple. The people power. Our ideology is enshrined in that people power. So I want to tell Ugandans that on the 14th of January 2021, the message of freedom that has been spread all over this country will be available for you to decide upon on the 14th. Go out in big, big numbers, and we give the dictator and the regime a bloody nose.
Okay.